That's all.
I know how well invested you are with grassroots football and also trying to make the local front better.
Yeah.
Are you impressed with the Nigerian league? Are you impressed with the Nigerian league as a body, or are you impressed? Are there like clubs you will single out in the Nigerian Premier League that others should look up to in terms of how well they are trying to put the structure together? Because it has always been a structure problem with the Nigerian football clubs. It has always been a structure problem. It has always been an organizational problem. It has always been a problem with maintenance. So, are you impressed with the league?
With the league, there's actually nothing wrong with the league, and this will make people come for me with a stick. The league itself is structured after the EPL. 20 teams in the league, which I think we're asking for too much for the kind of country that we are, the kind of economy that we run. That's asking for too much. There's nothing wrong with that structure, other than the fact that our economy does not support it. Yeah. Having said that, we're also a country of quota. If you cut the league now to a league of 10 clubs, for instance, we will end up with some part of the country being marginalized, and it will go from a football conversation to a serious political conversation. Having said that, all the rules that I've set in the league, as in when it comes to club licensing, when it comes to what is required of every club to participate in the league, all those rules are the same rules that you have in the EPL. Are the club following it? That's the problem. So the real enemy of the league are the clubs. The clubs are not moving an inch. The NPFL practically can, the LMC, sorry, practically can move from their position to the middle of the road. The clubs will still not move. But with people like Kole Shoname coming into football business, because he is not a football politician, coming into football business, seeing the structure that he has put in place, I do hope that the success of Remo Stars, yeah, Remo Stars would inspire other people who want to invest. People like Sporting Lagos, who I also think I should think have as much money as Kole Shoname, but they are younger people, so they don't have the brains, the experience, and the knowledge of football. Yeah. When you look at what Sporting Lagos is doing, as exciting as it is, it doesn't have a plan. It's like running 100 meter in the desert without a starting point and an ending point. They might have a plan, but from the way they are going, they will tire out quick. We've seen people come into the race like that, like COD. We've seen Ikorodu United. We've seen Stars try over and over again. They all faded out because there was no cut-out plan that you can see. When Remo Stars started and Kole Shoname came in, he obviously started like this, made some mistake, but then he quickly realized what he wants to do. He went to Firenze, bought into Firenze, understudied the way it is done in Europe, and came back to Nigeria and was seeing the structure that he's got, the facility. Little wonder the young boys from Remo Stars went with Adfa to Veraggio Cup. They got all the way to the finals. They played in the under 15, the La Liga under 15. Promises. La Liga Promises, well. They won that one. And their players are the best players. This is not rocket science. This is a deliberate investment tied into a project. So I think because it's going to happen soon, when Kole Shoname and his Remo Stars project become a big success, and by big success, because in my head they're already a big success, but by big success in this contest, I mean when they now start going to represent Nigeria on the continent, and they produce remarkable performance against the big names on the continent like Zamalek, Orlando Pirates, Alakli, TP Mazembe, Esperance, or Mamelodi Sundowns. When they start pulling up big results against those teams, then you will know that, okay, this is the way to go. Because what Nigeria really needs is a model that everybody can follow. Enyimba was a bad model to follow. I'm sorry to say. Enyimba is the biggest club in Nigeria, but was a bad model to follow. And why I say it's a bad model, it doesn't even remind me of Roman Abramovich. It was just a system that was not going to work. And that's why when Ojo Zokalo left, Enyimba have not worked since then. And, Enyimba people also made it worse. I remember when they sacked, they said, okay, Modi or Kadiri Kana, when they said, we know what we did to get the result. Once they said that, I mean, I could interpret it to mean so many things. Probably the bribe referees, probably the, did match fixing or anything. I could interpret it to mean anything. It could also mean they overspend on the players to get the result. But nobody can repeat that. Nobody can follow up on that. So I think that Kole Shoname is a model to follow. Let's just hope that they succeed and everybody wants to do what Kole Shoname have done. And there are spaces for that. People like Sporting Lagos, people like Ikorodu City, teams outside of Lagos, Vendreza as well, Bagada FC are going to be the future of Nigerian football. All these current clubs that are running in Nigerian football, the Kano Pillars of this world, the Plateau United of this world, Rivers United, Eimba, they will all die. They will die in natural death. It's not going to happen now, but it's going to happen pretty soon. You
Why-
know,
Now,
yeah.
our players, when they leave from the league to Europe, you see a player like a typical example is the striker with Eimba, who was highest goal
Uyala.
scorer.
Okay, Ufomudo.
Yes, Umfanudo. You know, Umfanudo was banging in the goals in Nigeria, and I don't know where he ended up going to in Europe.
It's in the US now.
He's in the US. Like imagine, like what is in their head? These players when they leave Nigeria, are they not meant to like go upwards in their career curve? Why do they seem to like become far worse players and they end up either coming back to the league or ending up somewhere obscure?
Okay, so that's not a Nigerian players thing. That happens across the whole globe. I played the same position with a Brazilian player and one Argentine player when I was in Europe. The both of them ran back because I mean, it doesn't look like they were ever going to take my shirts, and that has happened to a lot of people. You see Sadio Mane and Mo Salah playing every day. There are Brazilian players and European players that are sitting on the bench because on the account of their good performance. My point here is change of environment can do a lot to you. I mean, we came into Dubai. You came in last week. We came in this week Monday, right?
Yeah.
Between that time and now, a lot have changed.
Yeah.
Right? In the way you think, in the way you process things.
Yeah.
Sometimes going away from home is not easy for everybody. So when you're in Nigeria here, you're close to home, you can survive it. But then when you go away from home, there are a lot of challenges that you deal with psychologically on the personal front. If you read the Sondolise book, The Audacity to Refuse, one of the things you will notice that is consistent all through Ulises' career, whether it was with curate in Liège, in Belgium, Juventus, Dortmund with Sama his second season, was that all the coaches hated him. Not because he was bad, but because coaches in Europe. So let me tell you one thing that you need to understand, and I face that too. Coaches don't give a hoot. European coaches don't give a hoot about you African player. So you have to come in and do 10 times. So there are a few coaches who are not like that. We can't write everybody. But especially with the smaller team where the media is not really focusing on them.
Yeah.
The coaches will tell you straight that my priority is for the local players. My priority is for the indigenous. And if you can't fit in, get out. There are coaches who will tell you in the dressing room not to speak, who will tell other players not to speak English, not to communicate to you, not to mix up with you. They just want to frustrate you and see how you can go. So if you come in and you're having to deal with all of that, not everybody can stomach it. Especially if you look at yourself and say, come, I'm not really hungry, I'm not really poor. That's why ZG came back. That's why some of the players came back. Like if I go back to Nigeria, I'll see food to eat. I'm not broke, like really, really broke. By the time I left Nigeria, I already have a house. You know, life was not as bad as it is. And let's not deceive ourselves. Nigerian league is not as poor as people think. There are players in Nigerian clubs that earn more money than bankers who are driving new cars, building houses in Nigeria. Okay, it's just that they don't have racket to do like bankers, but there are players. If you're earning 400, 800, 600,000 naira a month, no matter how bad Nigerian economy is, you can plan well. The only problem with a lot of Nigerian players is that because they've been configured to think that one club will come from Europe to come and pick me, what they now do is all that money that they are earning, they are not saving it. They are not investing it. They are just wasting it knowing that,
it will come back again.
One transfer fee, one sign-on fee in Europe, 1 month salary, and I'm the king. No, that just stream round and then cut this small. Yeah, blade. So if you look at that, you notice that somehow in this conversation, I don't really blame players who go to Europe and don't fit it. It's not easy. The environment, culture change, food, people, language, you're battling against a lot of things. It's actually, on that ground, it's only a few that will survive. It's just like Nigerian student. Not every Nigerian student that go abroad that comes back. Even here in Nigeria, 10 people leave their house and go join university. 2, 3 will focus on the book. The other ones will go and do bamba, go and join secret courts. So it's the same thing everywhere. It's not because they're not good footballers. So there is more to football than just playing it. So in Nigeria, you're not playing with technology and equipment. When you go abroad, you'll have to deal with that. When you run, it is calculated on the meter. Yeah. It's like when you enter a cab in Lagos, you can price it. You can tell them, go offline, you price. Okay, but when you are like you came to Dubai now, you're paying for the meter.
Yeah.
You're paying for the meter. So you can't just come and say, Oga, Ajak to Lakwe, now you charge me 1,000 naira. No, you pay for the meter. What the meter says is the captain does not have anything to do with you. So that's the same thing with professional football. So when I was playing in Sweden, for instance, let me tell you, for instance, all the time I played in Nigerian league, nobody told me what to eat, what not to eat. Nobody ever mentioned it to me. I went to Sweden and I signed for a club. The first thing they did was to put me on diet. The first thing they did was to put me on diet. Then they put me on training without the ball for 60 days.
Training without the ball.
Yes, training without the ball for 60 days. They want to control my running, my movement. Like they were cutting at my lane for me on the field. Because the coach and the technical coach just told me straight up that I am good, but I run anyhow. I run without control. The word they use is I'm a loose cannon.
Wow.
That I have to control that. Right? So you have to know all of these basics. So if you're lucky to meet a coach who likes you, he will teach you. If you meet a coach who does not like you, for instance, the position they bring you in, he already have his own player that he brought on that position. He would give a very terrible report about you and kick you out of his team. And your agent, maybe the person who struggled to take you there, have told you to bring in 2-3 million to get it done. You now come back and you now tell yourself that I can't spend this much money again for another trip like this. You come back. So
Yeah.
when we judge the Nigerian players going to Europe, we should factor in the impediments that are working against them before we judge them. I know it's easy for anybody to say, because you're not good, that's why you don't figure Europe, go make up. No, that's not the truth. That's not the truth. I'm saying this because I know I've experienced it.
Yeah. I mean,
I've faced it.
I mean, a lot of national teams in Africa have a lot of home-based players. You know, Egypt, just because of the how well taken care of the players are.
Yeah.
You know, the way the clubs handle the players, the way it's more or less like what you get in Europe as well.
You are listening to Elegbete TV Radio.